Before the billions, Ray Dalio was broke. Not struggling, not just having a tough year, completely broke. He lost everything he had built. Bridgewater, the company that would later become one of the world's largest hedge funds, was falling apart. He had to borrow money from his parents just to cover basic expenses. Most people don't know that version of Dalio. They see the success, the books, the interviews, but not the rock bottom. And yet, it was in that lowest moment that he developed one of the most powerful habits of his life. Every morning, before doing anything else, Dalio sat down to reflect. He didn't scroll. He didn't complain. He reflected on what went wrong, what he could learn, and how to rebuild. That simple act of daily self-examination became the foundation of everything he created afterward. In this video, we're not just talking about motivation. We're talking about a practice, a discipline, a quiet decision repeated every day that changed the course of Dalio's life. And that can change yours too. Because no matter how far you've fallen, if you can still think, reflect, and learn, you can rise again. Let's unpack exactly what Dalio did each morning and how you can make it your own. In 1982, Ray Dalio made one of the worst financial calls of his career. He bet everything on a massive economic collapse, and he was wrong, completely wrong. The markets moved the other way and his clients pulled out. Bridgewater lost money. Staff had to be let go. And soon, Dalio was left with nothing but a small office, a dream, and a mountain of regret. He describes the period as one of the most painful times in his life, not just financially, but emotionally. His confidence was shattered. He had been bold, outspoken, and convinced he was right, and it cost him everything. Imagine being in your 30s, married, with a young child, and having to borrow $4,000 from your dad just to pay the bills. That's where he was. From the outside, he looked like a failed entrepreneur. From the inside, he felt like he had failed himself. But here's where it gets powerful. Dalio didn't hide from the pain. He didn't try to numb it. He faced it. He wrote down what went wrong. He asked hard questions. He treated his failure like data and decided to learn everything he could from it. He started to see failure not as something shameful, but as something useful. It became feedback, and every morning he would review that feedback almost like a scientist studying his own past. That habit of reflection became the blueprint for Bridgewater's eventual rise. It's hard to rebuild when you're broken, but Dalio discovered something most people never do: the ability to extract truth from pain. Most people avoid it. He leaned into it, and that's what gave him an edge. Because while others were blaming the world, Dalio was building a better model for how to operate in it. Failure didn't destroy him, it redesigned him. Ray Dalio's comeback didn't start with a business plan, it started with a piece of paper and a pen. Every morning, before checking the markets or making calls, he would sit down and write. He'd reflect on what went wrong. He'd ask himself what he missed, what assumptions were flawed, and how he could see more clearly next time. It wasn't therapy. It was analysis. Emotional honesty mixed with intellectual rigor. Dalio began creating principles, rules based on the lessons he learned from failure. These weren't motivational quotes or feel-good affirmations. They were raw, brutally honest insights. Don't be overconfident. Know what you don't know. Pain plus reflection equals progress. He didn't just write them once. He reviewed them every morning. They became his compass, a living document that evolved with him. Each principle represented a scar, proof that he had learned something the hard way. And he wasn't ashamed of that. In fact, he saw it as the only real way to grow. Over time, those daily reflections became more than a habit. They became a system, a personal playbook for making better decisions. And eventually, that system became the backbone of Bridgewater's now famous principles culture, a philosophy used by one of the most successful investment firms in the world. Why did it work? Because Dalio stopped lying to himself. He faced what most people avoid: the truth about their own thinking. He didn't pretend. He didn't blame. He just sat with the facts and used them to evolve. This is the exact opposite of how most people start their day. They reach for their phones. They scroll. They react. Dalio reflected. He gave his mind the space to grow before the noise kicked in. That space, just 15 to 30 minutes a morning, was enough to separate him from the pack. And that's the real secret. It wasn't magic. It wasn't luck. It was a habit, a consistent, structured moment of truth-telling that changed everything. You don't need a billion-dollar company to start. You just need a pen, a question, and the courage to answer it honestly. How to apply this practice in your life? You don't need to be Ray Dalio to use this method. You just need 10 minutes, a pen, and a willingness to be honest. Here's how to start your own version of Dalio's morning reset. Step 1. Create a quiet space. This doesn't need to be a mountain retreat. Just a chair, a notebook, and no distractions. No emails, no scrolling, no notifications. Give your thoughts room to breathe. Step 2. Ask yourself one key question. What did I learn yesterday? This isn't about self-criticism. It's about insight. Did you rush a decision? Ignore your gut? Avoid a conversation? Write it down. Step 3. Reflect without filter. Let the thoughts flow. Write about frustrations, mistakes, small wins, or things you noticed. Don't aim to sound smart, just aim to be real. Step 4. Extract a principle. What rule or reminder could have helped you yesterday? That's your principle. Write it down. Start a growing list. These will become your personal guidebook. Step 5. Review your principles regularly. Reread them weekly. Use them when facing hard choices. Over time, you'll spot patterns, break cycles, and grow faster. This is how Dalio rebuilt his mind and eventually his empire. He created a system to make fewer emotional decisions and more grounded ones. That system started with questions, paper, and brutal honesty. You might be thinking, I'm not a CEO. Doesn't matter. This isn't about scale, it's about mindset. Teachers, freelancers, students, parents. Anyone can use this method to make better decisions and gain clarity over time. If you do this for just 10 minutes a day, you'll begin noticing changes. Not immediately, but within a few weeks, you'll spot patterns you didn't see before. You'll respond to stress more calmly. You'll act with more intention. This is reflection as a weapon. Not for judging the past, but for designing a better future. Dalio didn't do it because he was successful. He became successful because he did it. Start your own version tomorrow morning. That pen might be the most powerful investment you ever make. Ray Dalio didn't rebuild his fortune overnight. He rebuilt his mindset one morning at a time. And that's the real lesson. When everything falls apart, you don't need the perfect strategy. You don't need the perfect market timing or the best network. What you need first is clarity. The courage to stop, to look at the truth without flinching, and to ask, what can I learn from this? The habit Dalio built wasn't about money. It was about momentum. It was a way to put one foot in front of the other when his confidence was gone. A way to build from the inside out. Reflection gave him something solid when everything else felt unstable. And in time, it gave him something more powerful than comfort. It gave him control. And the same process is available to you. You don't need to be a finance expert or have your life perfectly together. You just need a question, a notebook, and a few minutes of honesty each morning. That's how the shift begins. That's how you build a better relationship with yourself, with your work, and with your goals. So here's your challenge. Start tomorrow morning. One question, one page, one principle. Don't worry about getting it perfect. Just get it going. Do it for a week and see how you feel. And when you do, come back to this video and leave a comment. What principle did you write down today? What lesson did yesterday offer you? Your answer might give someone else the clarity they need to begin. This isn't just a video. It's a practice, a starting point. If this brought you value, hit the like button. Subscribe. Share it with someone who's stuck. We all know someone who could use a morning like this. Because your comeback doesn't start with strategy. It starts with reflection.